Hello everyone. Today I'm talking about the basic summary of what we talked about in my previous video about the variables and data types. It's just going to be a short summary because the previous video went very long, a lot longer than I expected. So we'll just go through the basic summary of what we studied on that video, and it's going to be about variables and data types. Okay. So let's talk about the values and variables. A variable is a portion of memory for storing a determined value. It could be in your brain, it could be in your computer. Okay, and we need to retrieve those variables later on to do some further processing with those variables. Okay, it could be numerical, it could be characters, or it could be sequence of characters, which are also called the strings. We'll get to the strings later on in this video. Examples include 20 as a number, California as a string, A as a character. Okay. Now let's talk about the identifiers. Okay, a valid identifier is used to identify a particular variable in a memory. It's like a reference. Okay, a valid identifier helps you identify what is the variable that is stored in the memory with the help of a sequence of characters. Okay, it's a sequence of one or more letters, digit, or underscore character in C++. Okay, and it cannot start with a number. Okay, best practice is to start with a letter. You can start with underscore, but a lot of time in C++, there are already some reserved keywords. You could possibly run into some keywords that start with underscore. So you can make a lot of identifiers just starting with a letter. Okay, but you cannot start with a number, and you cannot use any other special characters like a period or slash or anything like that. Okay, examples include my value underscore num or num2, etc. Okay. There are restrictions with identifier, and there are something called reserved keywords in C++. You cannot use those keywords in C++ because they are already defined. They are already defined in the library about what they means and what kind of value they store. Okay, you cannot use words like sm, auto, bool, break, all these that you are seeing here are it's best not to use those also. And underscore eq, okay, beat, and those variables might also be already in the library, so don't try to make up those as an identifier for your variable. Okay, an important note: C++ is a case sensitive language, which means that if you name an identifier as ABC, it is not same as big A, small b, small c. Okay, if you name it as a small ABC, it's not same as big A, small b, small c, or even big ABC. Okay, their identifiers are completely different. Okay, now let's talk about some fundamental data types. C++ need to know what kind of data are you storing to do further processing later on. Without knowing what kind of data type it is, C++ will not be able to store it. Okay, there are basically 9 types of fundamental data types in C++. Char is a character, or also called a small integer. Its size is 1 byte. It takes 1 byte of memory in your computer. Short int takes 2 bytes of memory on a computer. It's also called short integer. Int takes 4 bytes. It's an integer number. Okay, long int also takes 4 bytes. It's also called long integer. Boolean value, true or false, 1 and 0, takes 1 byte of your computer memory. Float is a decimal number. You know, if you need to store a number that also have a decimal place, you use float. Double is a double precision floating point number. Okay, it takes 8 bytes of the memory, and there's also a long double. The size that I'm referring here, 1 byte, 2 bytes, 8 byte for long double, they are basically for 32-bit architecture. You don't need to know about all those right now. but that's this size may not be true for all the computers. Okay, they can be different depending upon what kind of operating system you are using, but this is the most you'll find this probably in most of the computers that you'll see. Okay, if it is a 64-bit long double, size may be different, long int size may be different. Okay, and also there's a w char, that should be char underscore t. Okay, now when you declare a variable, you need to give the identifier name, and what data type are you trying to store. Okay, for example here int a. Okay, it means that I will store a variable named a, which is going to be an integer. Okay, float b means that I want to store a variable named b, which is going to be of type float. Okay, now double num, that means I'm going to store a variable named num, and it's going to be of type double. Okay, this is how you declare it in C++. Okay, you can also declare as int a comma b comma c. It means that you are declaring three variables named a, b, and c, which are going to be of type int. Okay, which is same as declaring int a, int b, and int c. Okay, that's much shorter way to do those. There are basically two types of integers in C++, also in C: signed versus unsigned integer. Okay, signed integers can have both positive and negative numbers. Unsigned can only have positive numbers. Examples are signed int a, unsigned int b. By default, C++ takes integer as a signed. So if you don't say that it's a, if you just declare it as int a, then it's gonna assume that you are declaring a signed int. Okay, so yeah, int a is a signed integer a. Okay, so let's look at this example program. This is a basic program, pretty basic. Just declaring two variables named a and b, which are of data type int. We are also declaring a sum variable, also type int. We are giving value 23 to a, 56 to b, and we are saying that sum is going to be a plus b, and we print sum in the screen, return 0 because it's a successful, when it is a successful compilation of the program, and program runs successfully. Okay, so to use a variable, normally we tend to declare and initialize those variables. In C++, if you don't initialize a variable, basically initialization means that you are giving the value to an integer for the first time. Okay, and when you don't initialize it and try to use it, C++ is going to store some random junk in your variable. Okay, and to initialize it, a variable needs to be declared first, otherwise it's going to be giving you some error saying maybe unknown data type a, undeclared, or something like that. Okay, so we declare it like that. Say int a means that there is going to be a variable named a, and its data type is going to be int, and we initialize it by saying that a is some number. Okay, 23 in this example. So a equals to 23, that statement is the initialization of variable. Int a is a declaration of the variable. Okay, understand that difference. And in C++, both can happen in the same line. You can declare and initialize at the same time. You can say int a equals to 23. So first we initialized as int a, then we first we declared as int a. That's this one is not initialized, this one is supposed to be declared. Okay, declared as int a, then initialized int that number as 23. Okay, in the same line. Initialization can happen in two ways in C++. You can either given operator equals 23, or you can also say a in parentheses. You can write 23, that will also initialize 23 to a in C++. Okay, now previous program can be written in this way too. Okay, so a is equals to 23, b is going to have 56, sum is going to have a plus b, and we print out sum to the screen and return 0. Okay, now let's get to the strings. String, when you are declaring string in C++, you need to add a new library in your program, and you need to include a C string, okay, at the start of your program. So a string is a sequence of characters. All right, declaring string is same as like other variables. You can say string my name. Okay, value of string data type will always need to be inside double quotes. Okay, example, my name equals to Dean. Okay, that's inside double quotes. Now while declaring characters, they should be given inside single quotes. Okay, characters and string are two different things. String is a bunch of characters within a same variable. Okay, and a character named char can store only one character at a time. For example, char, my char is a, and it's inside single quote. Okay, strings are in double quotes, char is in a single quote. Okay, and character, takes only one character at a single time, and string is a collection of those characters, okay, in the same variable identifier. All right, string example program. Notice here we included C string, and there's also another concept of adding the string. It's called concatenation. Okay, this is very valid in C++. You can add two string into the same string, and you can also declare a variable, like you can add two numbers and declare it inside that. Okay, and we included a C string here. That's important, otherwise this declaration is going to give you a compilation error. And we declared as another string. We added that another string to the first string. It's going to Dean Jones. I should have put a space here, that would have been better. So if you see out, it's going to say my name is Dean Jones. They are not going to have any space in between. All right, so that's all for this video. It's pretty short. That video was long. I'll try to make a lot shorter videos. So yeah, please rate, comment and subscribe if you like the video. I'm going to have a lot more videos. Now I'll just not being able to make videos lately. In next video I'm gonna talk about constants, very important concept, then operators, then we'll talk about basic input and output to end the basics. Okay, then we'll go and do some fun programming in C++ after that. And I'm also planning on doing introductory on Java. If you guys are interested, please let me know. I'm planning on doing a whole I'm writing a notepad in C++ as an introductory video that will cover all the basics and everything that you need to know with Java, and you can get started from there. Yeah, so please rate, comment and subscribe, and have fun.